Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Flowering into 5D. Today I have a lovely lady who I also call my friend, Julia Turner Chi. And let me just tell you a little bit about Julia before we get started. Julia is, first of all, she's amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
Yay. But she has been compelled, always compelled to help women be the best that they can be, whether that's being a doula for over 15 years or teaching women how to grow their own food or supporting women in their new endeavors and giving them a voice on WooAhLalala, which I have appeared on your Instagram. So yeah, welcome, 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 Julia. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Like I said, I was a little bit scattered this morning, and that is my downfall sometimes. So I tried telling my husband last night, it's like when I wake up, my brain is in list format. And then once get up and I start doing things, it's like they scatter and they're still all in my head. They're just not in this linear. If I don't wake up and put it down in a list, then I need lists. Do you need lists?
Mm. I'm the type where I felt like I needed a lot of lists, and I probably honestly, real talk, yeah, I probably am. I probably should get a list. But sometimes I try and wing it, and the results are mixed.
Yes. It's fun to wing it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how I ended up in Cambodia is basically winging it, right? So I mean, there's like I'm still finding this like balance between like writing everything and like planning everything and like
Yes.
let's just see how this goes.
Yes, definitely. And that is one thing, like in teaching women for so many years, um, I try to teach that balance too of being able to be in the present moment and to be in your feminine flow, right? But then to not be a dick either, because sometimes my family will tell you that I can be a real dick sometimes.
Sometimes it just
and
gotta come
it's
out.
never on purpose. It's just like me, like, oh my goodness, I forgot that. I'm so sorry. So yes. And we need to be in our feminine flow sometimes. And I think it's just good that you have certain times that you really get to be in your feminine flow. Like when I'm in my women's circles meetings, it's just all it's flow and it's being with one another and nobody's really looking at the clock. It's really good to be like that. But then, we live in this world and we have to get things done and we make commitments to other people. So
Yes, I have to laugh when you said look at the clock because that's like the classic thing for me is like, I'm hanging out with my women friends and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's been 2 hours. I gotta go. My husband's like,
yeah.
didn't you see what time it was? I'm like, no.
No.
He's like, get a watch. I'm like, no, I will not get a watch. So actually, speaking of women's circles and just connecting with other women, I really want to hear about your event that you had called Held. I'm so excited to hear about how it went and how everything. Tell me everything.
well I'll tell you what, like, it was the very first time I held it. And it's so funny when I say that because I'm like, the event's name is Held.
Yeah.
um And I didn't have any participants. Everybody canceled last minute, but I
Oh.
didn't feel devastated. I didn't. It felt like I got to have a pre-run,
Mm.
and so because I did it very very last minute. So first, let me tell you what Held is. So
Yes, please.
I was laying in bed one night, and it flowed to me like water, just
Mm.
coming in, and I just started writing things down. Um, I've talked a lot about things in the past about how, as women, we long to be held still. When we're little girls, we hold each other's hands and we braid each other's hair and we're constantly loving and touching on each other. And then as we get older, we're like taught that any form of physical touch uh, between adults is sexual. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, you have your hugs that you give your friends and stuff like that, and even in the spiritual community, we might give like exaggerated long hugs. You know, we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
um, and and I have my friends too that you have to make sure that your heart is connected to. I'm like, okay, yeah, my butt, just hug me. You know what I mean? Just give me a hug. But beyond those hugs and stuff like that, we associate physical touch with sexuality.
Mm.
And I I have some girlfriends that we dance together. We smooth each other. When we see each other, we hug each other and then we like coo to each other. We're like, I love you. I love you so much. You know, and I was in a women's group and I asked them, don't you guys like want more? Like, don't you just want this to be like okay and socially acceptable to just like love on each other and not have it be any sexual connotation, you know? So as I was laying in bed that night and I was thinking about the conversations that I had had and everything, it just flowed to me. I even saw the logo, like just the way that it looked.
Yeah.
And I knew the colors, I knew everything. And so I didn't go to sleep that night. I stayed up and I designed the whole thing and I just went for it and I put out the first event. So it was platonic affection, you know, sacred connection. And I have little stations set up. So you could be like, okay, this is the hair brushing station. This is the nail station. This is, you know, maybe we just want to sit and cuddle. There's music going on. You can go over and you can do karaoke if you want to do karaoke. It's like a girl party. This is not healing. This is what I want people to know. I mean, it's healing in its own right, but you're not coming here to like connect with your inner child or to find your deep-seated wounds. You're coming here to be held and to have fun. It's just all about that. And of course, because I love connecting people, it's one of my favorite things to do is to connect people to each other and to connect with other people. And so what I've added into this is inviting a special featured guest.
Nice.
And so I can invite a special featured guest. She can have 10 to 20 minutes where she gets up and she says, this is what I do. I think my first one is going to be my friend Christina doing a cacao ceremony.
Amazing.
So, underneath this tree, Christina has led a cacao ceremony underneath this tree before.
Beautiful.
And so she can go in and she can say, like, this is how we're going to open up our hearts. This is cacao ceremony. If you've never been exposed to it before, she can let people know what she does. And in my community, most people know what she does. But what I've been telling her is like, I'm expanding beyond our normal spirituality community, because this is not only for the people in like the spirituality community. This is like literally for all women who just desire to be held. And there are people who there are people in dry spells too, you know, they're not in a relationship and it's been years. Some women, it's been years since they've just literally been held. And what really like locked it in for me too, I had all these ideas, like I said, going through my mind, and I had conversations with other women. And the night that I stayed up all night and really put this together was the day after I had a session with my friend Amy. And Amy and I do a series together called The Home Stretch.
Yes.
And she's an assisted stretching coach. So she physically moves your body, or she tells me how to move. And this one move that she was doing was so powerful, where she had me lean back. And I mean, it was a hard physical stretch, but I had to trust her to hold me. And
Mm.
and I wouldn't let go at first. And then she was like, just let go. And I said, I keep on hearing this voice that I'm too much. And she's
Mm.
like, too much what? And I said, I'm too big. I'm too, and I'm just, and she's like, no, you're not too much. And then she's made a joke. She said, I'll rock you like a baby. And she really did. She like
Mm.
held me in this position where I was able to just like fully let go, let my body stretch the way that it
Mm.
needed to stretch, because she
Mm.
was in the middle of doing a stretching thing with me. But the fact that I was able to surrender to letting another adult woman hold me,
Mm.
as if like it was almost like a mother holding a child, you know? And to surrender to that was beautiful. And it my body responded, and my body just like it went like and like
Wow.
my bone structure went back into place.
Mm. Wow.
So the events that I'm holding with held, I need to find a different word to say, because I just feel so redundant to say I'm holding held. But I want women to have fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to be okay with physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because there was even one other woman in my community who came up and spoke to me about it this last Friday. Um, she's a little bit older than me, but not terribly older than me. And she said, how did your event go? And I told her, nobody showed up, but it was a pre-run. I'm cool. I'm good. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
devastated. Um, and she said, I really want to go to that, but it's so hard for me because
Mm.
she's like, I don't let anybody touch me. Like,
Mm.
I don't hug people. I don't. And I was like, could you let somebody brush your hair? And she's like, I don't know. So
Mm.
I told her, like, well, why don't you just come to one? You don't have to be touched at all. You can
Mm.
witness other people and be in that environment. And then maybe you want to work up to like somebody doing your nails, you know,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
I'm surely you'll let somebody do your nails, right?
Yeah.
Or, uh, or just participating in a cacao ceremony, or you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want it to be a place where it is fun. It's not necessarily healing or anything like that. It's gonna be healing though. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Of course.
It's
Of course.
it just is. Whenever you put yourself out there and get a little bit out of your comfort zone, it's always going to be healing, but it's usually going to be fun too.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I think as well, like, um, I think it's going to be a really powerful place for people to make friends because, as an
Mm-hmm.
adult, like, where do you go to make friends if you, especially for like me, for example, I don't drink alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I, don't do any intoxicants anymore. So I just don't really like, don't have a place to make friends that are women. I mean, I'm married,
Right.
so I'm like, I don't really want to like make guy friends. That's kind of, I don't know, not for me, not judging people that do, but for me, it's a no.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, like it just sounds like the perfect event and situation that you can go in. And yeah, there's no pressure to physically touch anyone, but also just to be held in a sisterhood, really.
Right. And
Yeah.
that brings up a good question of what you said, like with alcohol, because um, I had bought 2 bottles of champagne just
Oh.
to have there if people
Hmm.
wanted it. And it was my 16-year-old going like, Mom, it's your first one. It's a celebration. You should have some champagne. I hardly ever drink. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's like, that doesn't, I think at her age, even like she's just seen the media, right? If it's a
Mm,
celebration, it needs to be alcohol, right? So, and I'm not like, I wouldn't say like I'm not completely like no alcohol. It's
mm.
just like light in my life. It doesn't. If you took it away, I wouldn't care. You know, like.
Right, right.
But I did have it there, and now I'm considering. I'm going back and forth. I'm like, because it might be something that one lady needs. Maybe she needs one glass of champagne, and then she can relax into it.
Of
You know,
course. Yeah. Some people need
and
that.
yeah, and so yeah, I don't know. That's one thing to think about, or even have some events that are completely alcohol free. And
Mm.
I definitely never want it to be like, I mean, we're going to have fun, but uh, I don't want everybody getting like intoxicated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure.
That's not what it's all about.
Well, I think like what I meant more than like it has to be a dry event is more like I don't want to go to a bar to meet
Oh,
friends
yeah.
because that doesn't sit well with me. And like I love the idea of like spirituals, but some people don't. And I think it's like a good way to like bridge that
Yeah.
those two worlds. So I'm super excited for you for the
Thank
the
you.
next one. And I really see it being extremely powerful for those who attend.
Oh, thank you. I feel it in me, and I know that I just have to hold strong, and I have to like keep showing up. My friend Christina, who I mentioned before, one thing that she's really good at, and she's 10 years younger than I am, and so and we share the same birthday, so it's kind of funny. But she just says, "You give up too easy, Julia. You just have to," because I've done things like this before, and I'm like, by the fourth time, I only have maybe one or two people show up, and I go, bah, and I throw in the towel. And I'm like, okay,
Mm,
I'm not throwing in the towel on this one. I know it's a good idea. And I have plans for traveling with it.
I love that.
So, so what I'm really hoping to do is to be able to travel to a new city or country. Say I go to where you are, right? And
Mhm.
you are the host, right? So you get to say what you're doing and different things, but then the main event is always women experiencing physical affection with each other in
Mhm.
whatever way that we do it. But I would love to be able to bring it to different cities. And I haven't actually figured out how to like make it financially profitable for me, because that always seems to be the thing that I care the least about.
I get it.
But I do feel like if I just open up my heart and I keep following my heart and I keep coming from a place of serving women, that I will be taken care of. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't have to be extremely wealthy. I'm not rejecting it if it wants to come, but that isn't that isn't necessary for me to have a happy life. You know,
Hmm.
what is necessary is for me to be able to connect with people and to
Hmm.
get other people to connect with each other and to get women to find the lovable parts in them, you know, to realize how much power is in that love, you know.
Hmm.
And when they learn that they can accept love and that they can give love and that it's safe, it it like ignites something in them. And
Hmm.
then it's like then they have this fire, this light burning inside them, and they go out and they send it to more people, and that just like lights up our world.
Literally, yeah. Like it's like, that I don't know exactly what the saying is, but like it doesn't hurt a candle to light another candle. It just
Right.
spreads. And yeah, like
Right.
I absolutely love that. And I think it's so needed, especially, I think I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but just with, the media, and, culture is very like women need to like stay down. We need to,
Mm-hmm.
we need to be small. Like, obviously we also apparently need to have careers and children and balance everything magically and amazingly. But more than anything, it's, degrade yourself. It's funny, make yourself not look good or, not on purpose, but you know what I mean? I feel like I'm kind of like spinning my tires with that one, but I think you know what I mean. And that, like we don't need to like dim our
We don't need to make
lights.
we don't need to dim our lights, and we don't need to make ourselves small. And I'll say one thing that I realized about letting your light shine or dimming your light. A lot of times when you shine really brightly, because I tend to just, ever since I've been a little girl, I'm a extremely powerful flashlight right in your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm too much sometimes. You're like, whoa. But I realize that a lot of times people are very uncomfortable with people who shine brightly, because when you're shining brightly, they can see all the things inside themselves that they don't necessarily like. And they don't even know why they're agitated with your brilliance, They don't understand. They just don't want to be around you. A lot of times they don't want to be around you because you are illuminating the things that they don't like in themselves.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I feel like I've been on both sides really. And when I am quote too much and people don't want to be around me, I've kind of turned it to a 180 where I feel grateful that those people don't want to be around me because they're not meant to be around, and see ya.
Right.
And it's just I don't know how many people or how many women specifically are at that point. I hope more of them get to that point because it's really freeing, honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely. To be able to light up your fire and to just like, I see the visual that I see as I'm talking about this is like me dancing around my fire, which is peak Julia.
Love it.
I love living out here in the country now. I loved living in big cities for a long time, but living out in the country, and I have my fire pit, and especially in the winter when it's a little bit cold.
Yeah.
My husband had his friends over once, and they were nerding out playing their magic cards because, that's what he does with his friends. And I'm they can see me, but I'm far enough away, and I catch them looking at me as I'm dancing around a fire, and I have a cape on, and I'm like, dancing, and I was like, "You guys, it's the full moon. I'm so sorry."
I mean,
But they just, yeah. The good thing is they just kind of like give me a glance, so like, yeah, she's just doing her thing, just
I love
whatever.
that.
We want to be around people like that, right?
Yes, exactly. I'm like, can I come to the fire dancing ceremony on the full moon?
Yes,
That sounds
I
amazing.
know. I might be able to do those online sometime. That would be kind of fun.
That would be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have to have like my screen like a at Christmas time how you can get the
Right.
channel where it's like the fireplace. That's I'll be dancing around the fireplace. Oh my
That
gosh,
would be
it's so
fun though.
funny. I would love that. So, just out of curiosity, and this is just me going off on a tangent for a second, I'm just curious, like, what's your experience with spirituality and or not spirituality, religion, like organized religion, and then like maybe some witchcraft or spirituality or whatever you want to like brand it or name it. Like,
So
tell me
I
your experience
was
with those.
I was raised very strict Christian.
Okay.
Um, I don't have any like negative feelings towards it though. I know a lot of times people have like think, oh, the church was too constrictive. I experienced it as love.
Okay.
I
Nice.
experienced it as community and people being there for each other. And, but I will say that there was a little bit too much fear mixed
Mm.
in there. And that I realized that, like, because I'm an intuitive as well. And I I hear dead people, you know? But legit, I do sometimes, you
Mhm.
know, and I hear spirits and things like that. So when I was younger and I was in that Christian community, it scared me
Mm.
because I was taught like that is like evil, or that means all these bad things. And so I would say if there was a negative thing I have associated with that, it's that it's too fear based
Mm.
and controlling. Organized religions tend to be especially controlling towards women
Mm.
and restrictive towards women. And so I still I went away from it for a while, but I've never been completely away. Like Jesus
Okay.
is still my dude, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
We're tight. And my kids have never been like really raised in church or anything. Um, but they've always known like no Jesus jokes, you know, like
Mm.
they're different. I'm like, no, mm-mm. So even though like I don't go to church and everything like that now, and I've incorporated so many other things, um, I found the book Anatomy of the Spirit like
Mm.
28 years ago, and that like changed my life to be able to have her talk about like how the physical and the mental and spiritual go together.
Mm.
And then I just started reading other books. I found Louise Hay and
Wow.
love Louise Hay, Wayne Dwyer. These are the people that I started finding that started waking up my mind and started thinking about like, it's not even that like Christianity is completely wrong or any other religion. It's just that it's one piece.
Mm-hmm.
And um and it's been bastardized. Most things have been like used as a form of control. But uh I feel like when I sink into all of it, it's just a bunch of pieces. It's a whole spirituality things to me. It feels just like a whole bunch of pieces. And we as humans are trying to put the puzzle together and to try to figure it all out. But the thing is, how I think of it is, I don't think we have to find all the answers. The goal is to not find the goal is to not put the whole puzzle together and be like, yes, now I know
Mm.
all the secrets of the universe. They are all mine. I know it. The puzzle is complete. I think the point is to learn how to put the pieces together, connect with
Mm.
people. And I kept getting spiritual messages of mycelium and fascia and puzzle pieces about 5 years ago. And now I know it. It's like everybody connecting with people. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to have this human experience. We come here, have this human experience, and we find the people that we can connect with and that can help maybe illuminate things, because it is good to know some things, you
Of
know.
course.
But
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to know like all the secrets of the universe. That that would be like boring.
I just think it would be a bit overwhelming because, there's so much to know. And I honestly, my opinion would be that it's just almost impossible to be
Yeah.
that in a human
Yeah.
form.
We don't have the capacity to hold it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I
Yeah.
mean, even my name is my brand name is flowering into 5D. Like, it's 5D isn't the end. Like, there's 60, there's 70,
Right.
there's all these dimensions that we could go into, but I just don't see it in my lifetime that I'm gonna go to 12D. Like, like
Right.
I think just meeting ourselves where we're at and being okay with not having all the answers. And
Yes.
I completely agree that I think we did come here to connect with each other and just remember that feeling of oneness more than anything, more than
Yes.
getting answers, more than, putting the whole, like you said, putting the puzzle together. Oh, I got it. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
is just that connection with each other and also with God or the universe or the divine or whatever you want to call it. Because same. At
Yes.
least I think so.
Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely believe in oneness, and I listened to a podcast once where Christian Sundberg was on there, and he's a man who has pre-birth memories,
Oh,
and I find
wow.
that very fascinating.
Yeah.
And him just talking about remembering being part of the whole and
Mm.
the whole light and being
Mm.
like sent. And I think that that's fascinating. And I haven't had that experience myself, but uh, I read some things that he wrote. I listened to that podcast, and I just have a magnificent hawk. Holy moly! Sorry, it literally just
Okay.
swooped right by me. That was
Oh,
crazy.
love it.
Gently and like quietly. So weird. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm here for it.
But he with him talking about the pre-birth memories, I really connected with that. And I think that's one thing, we all connect with different people and we find pieces that light us up and that make sense to us. And as long as we're feeling happy, like that is the goal, honestly, of everything, of being here, connecting with people, allowing ourselves to enjoy this experience. And some people get so serious, and especially people in organized religions can get
Mm.
so serious that about everything that they're not even enjoying this experience. And I feel like if anything's a sin, that's a sin. To be given this experience and to choose to not enjoy it.
What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely right there with you. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like, why are you here then? Like,
Right.
silly.
Yeah. I want to experience um, everything to its fullest.
Yes. Yes.
And that is even when I like helped women have their babies for many years, that was a huge thing too, is like, yes, this is intense. Giving birth is intense,
Mm.
but why not try to sink in and enjoy it too?
Well, it's its own experience. No birth is ever the same either. So, just
Mm,
because you have 5 kids, it's all going to be different. So you may as well enjoy it. And not only for your own health, but for the health of your child as well. Like,
oh yeah.
live for it, literally.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's never a time in your life as a woman where you it's so transformational.
Mm.
And when you let your body do what it's designed to do and release into that, uh, like the chemicals that are released when you have a natural birth, it's just insane. Like you have the highest level oxytocin that you will ever have in your whole life
Hmm.
is is when you're giving birth, and don't you want your baby to be born to a mother full of oxytocin?
I mean, I do.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that people fail to realize the importance of birth, and um, it isn't just having a healthy baby, an alive baby.
Yes. So
It,
much more than that.
yeah, it's a whole experience. And if you look at it even as like a sci-fi movie, like how many sci-fi movies have you ever watched any sci-fi?
Not like recently. Like,
I used to
yeah.
hate sci-fi, okay? And then it's my husband's favorite genre. So I've watched my fair amount of these things where like adults are in these capsules of goo, and then they're like born and they're like, so, oh, like, where am I, right?
Mm,
It's like being born, right?
right.
But when you stop and think about it, like this infant has been inside their mom, all cocooned in there. And even though that's an experience all in itself, talking to pre birthers, like,
Hmm.
uh, when Christian Sundberg talks about like when he decided to come into his mother's womb, like the dropping down feeling from being in complete bliss, all light, love and light, where you don't even need words to talk. And the coming down into the womb felt like sinking down into a dark, deep place. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then you're growing in there and you're like all settled. And then all of a sudden you're being expelled out and you're like, whoa, where, don't you want that to be the most at least peaceful like environment that you can possibly have? I love watching births where it's just peaceful and the baby barely cries and it's just like with
Oh,
the mom. Oh,
yes. I love
yeah.
that
I'm
too.
feeling a little bit of a calling back to birth recently.
I hear you on that. I completely hear you on that for sure. Because yeah, I've also like I studied to be a childbirth educator and postpartum doula, and I after my daughter, I was like, not right now. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, you know what? I feel like we have to have a part two about just like birth or something because we're
Oh,
running out
totally.
of time. But I am like ready to like have this deeper conversation.
Dive
Uh,
in and do more. Yes.
yes, 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 yes.
Well, thank you for having me and letting me talk about held because I do think that it is a really revolutionary idea that I would love to spread all over the place and have women all over the world feel held.
I love that. And I'll just say really quickly, if you want to connect with Julia, you can find her on Instagram at WooAhLalala. It's WOO_AH_LALALA. And I'm super excited to connect with you again soon, Julia. It's always a pleasure. And thank you. Do
Thank
you
you
have
so
anything else you
much.
want to say before we get cut off?
I don't think so. This has been a pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Likewise, friend. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye.